Man, I might have to shorten that video. Sitting through 75 seconds is pretty brutal. But I'm here with my boys from SI, all 49ers. Jose Sanchez, how y'all doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Good. Well, how was the haircut earlier?
Wow, you're actually calling him out on it.
Did he freeze, or is that at my internet?
I think I'm back. I don't know what
There
happened.
you go.
Okay, there
Hey,
you
welcome
go.
back. Hey, look, he's missing the beginning of the show, like his haircut.
Oh, no.
Paid for the haircut, didn't get the haircut. Gonna have to go back on Sunday, pay for another haircut. That's all right, though. It's on me. That's on me, though. That's on me. I
So
take
what do
full
you guys do,
responsibility.
You literally have to book your appointment in order to go. You can't just go and say, "Hey, I need a haircut."
You gotta
Yeah.
schedule it.
I gotta schedule it to get the guy who gives me the cut, and I blew it. So,
Man,
and they even
Jimmy
give you
Garoppolo.
like a warning the first time. It's not my first time. It's my second time. That's the worst part about it. God. So now I'm gonna start
man.
using my phone to remember things instead of just my head.
Yeah,
Because I don't think my noodle's getting the job done anymore. I'm old.
He's gonna
You
give you
gotta
a bald spot now.
put reminders.
Just for that.
Yeah, I got to do the reminder. My wife was saying, "You don't do reminders in your phone." I was like, "What are those? What are those?"
What are those?
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about
Yeah.
what are those later into the towards the end of the podcast. We'll make guys
bro.
with flip flops because I personally cannot wear what I call them in thong sandals. I can't. My toes feel violated. I just can't do it. But
yeah, your whole
let's
foot feels
talk
violated,
about.
right? Yeah.
I know it's just so weird.
Yeah.
Jose texted me and he wanted to talk about like who the biggest threat versus the 49ers inside their own division.
Mhm.
And that's where I just came up with like, let's rank it, because how I view is
Mhm.
Seahawks are a threat, Rams are a threat, Cardinals are
Yeah.
a threat. These are all very three solid teams. Some have better coaches than others, have quarterbacks than others, but they're all legit threats. Either one of them could either place fourth or second within the division. That's just how close it is between the teams. So let's rank the NFC offenses. Jose, if you want to go ahead and start, and then Grant, I'll let you touch on after.
Mhm.
Yeah, offenses. Let's go. Are we going top to bottom, like first to four, or just go from like fourth to one? What are you thinking?
However you want to do it.
All right, we can do 4 through 1. I would probably have to go with number 4. Number 4 is either going to be Arizona or it's going to be Arizona. It's going to be Arizona because I don't like Cliff Kingsbury. The guy the guy I mentioned in the article I wrote about it is kind of a clown, and clowns don't belong in the league. So I don't know how this guy, he's working too hard to be more of a pretty boy instead of having his offense being pretty. He's just so inept. I don't trust him. I love Kyler Murray. They have talent all over there, but if we're comparing him to just like the top between these four, they've got to be on that. They got to be at that bottom rank. Number three, this is when it starts getting trickier. Number 3, I think I'm going to have to say the 49ers. I'm going to have to say the 49ers just because of who's kind of at quarterback Even if they had Trey Lance there. Because Trey Lance, he might not. I doubt he hits the ground rolling even if he were to start week 1. But it's going to be Garoppolo, so they're going to still have. It's still going to be a nice offense, Just because having 3 doesn't mean I'm necessarily fully on disrespecting them. But the offensive right side, how is that going to be? Is the running game going to be okay? Once again, how's Garoppolo going to do? Hey, he always starts off. He's going to be consistent. What are the receivers going to look like? So I think it's still going to be like nice and sturdy. I just don't really trust them. Number 2, I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to go Seattle Seahawks with Russell Wilson and that nice tandem he has with Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. And they actually have a pretty sweet running game with Chris Carson. He doesn't receive enough credit. The guy's pretty nice. Not necessarily like above the elite, but I'd say he's like a top 10 running back. Right. And then, of course, like Russell Wilson, he has to be the number 2. But other than that, I don't really see like they have much offensive like genius there. Other than just when Russell Wilson gets like nice in his own mode, gets in his own killer zone, or what they were saying for the first half of the year, which was so annoying, let Russ cook, which I hope they retire that. That was really an annoying phrase. And
what's more annoying for you personally? Is it let Russ cook or is it the Ramley?
Oh, I think it's the Ramley. Which is unfortunately going to be who I think their offense is number 1. Because the Ramley sounds stupid. You guys have 26 fans that don't even go to the games. But I'm about to say the Rams number 1 just because it's McVay and Matthew Stafford. He finally has a nice, I'd say a top 10 quarterback who's probably like right there like 10 or 9 with Matthew Stafford. They have a sweet wide receiver core and the running game. It just feels like whoever's been back there, McVay's always been able to get like efficiency there. I just feel like if McVay was always sweet with Jared Goff, what is he going to look like now with Matthew Stafford, who can fully optimize him? I feel like it makes a world of a difference, and I can envision now a scenario where the 49ers face off. It's going to be sweet. The Rams, to me, just with that offense, Stafford, that's pretty much makes Sean McVay's offense fully optimized.
Grant, what do you think?
This is a really tough question, man.
It's
really tough.
It is.
Man, I mean, wow. Okay. I mean, the Niners could really have the worst offense in the division. They could. If Jimmy Garoppolo is their starter, I think they do have the worst offense in the division. Like the least. I mean, Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford, Kyler Murray with those weapons. I mean, I don't think Jimmy can keep up. But I don't think Jimmy is going to be the starter. I think Trey Lance is going to be the starter. What's that?
Week 1?
Yeah, I do. I mean, they're having an off-season competition. I mean, what's the point of having the competition if you're not going to let it play out? Like, I feel like once they open this to a competition, then the more talented guy's going to win. Yeah, I think he's going to get this job. I think it's going to be Trey Lance's job. I think he's going to have it all year. Or even if he doesn't, if it's like 12 of the games, still going to be his offense most of the time, I think. So I think it's going to be very explosive with him on the field. I think it has the potential to be the best offense in the division as well. I'm going to say, though, that I'm going to go number 4, Seattle. It's hard to say that they would be number 4. They have a new offensive coordinator. I don't know what he's going to do. They got him from the Rams. He should have good pedigree, but I don't know. I still think that their offensive line is terrible, Seattle's. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, I mean, I know DK is great and Tyler Lockett is great. Well, Russell Wilson's great.
Especially quarterback talking smack, basically. Sneak this in the offensive line, the protection.
All offseason. Yeah.
Ooh.
They might miss some blocks on accident. Wink, wink.
So that's a little weird. So I'm going to say Seattle last, although I think these are all good offenses. Then I'm going to put the Rams. They're definitely going to take a step up from last year. They were the 11th ranked offense last year with Goff. They should be top 10 with Stafford. I'm going to put the Niners second with Trey Lance. I'm thinking the Niners offense is going to be really explosive with Trey Lance. There's going to be a downfield element. There's going to be all the scrambling that he can do, quarterback runs. I think it's going to be really good offense. But look, you're really writing off Arizona. And I understand that Cliff Kingsbury has a lot to prove, but I think the roster is really good. And look, they last year were the 6th ranked offense as that was last year. Now they have James Conner. They have AJ Green. They got rid of Larry Fitzgerald, who is done. And they brought in Rondale Moore too. So I don't know how far they're going to go because they do have kind of a weak head coach, but they're very talented on offense. And I think Arizona is the number 1 offense in this division?
Ooh, that's tough.
It's tough.
Because
I think they're all good offenses.
The reason why I would have Arizona 4 is just a Cliff Kingsbury is solely because of him. Like we've seen him have DeAndre Hopkins on one side of the field the entire game, running like 3 routes out of his number 1 wide receiver that can win from underneath, can win, intermediate, can win deep. So I'm just not seeing enough from Kingsbury with the amount of talent they have on their team. They lost Kenyon Drake while Edmonds is a fine running back. Kenyon having that 1-2 punch was really, really solid for Arizona.
Kyler Murray ran for 800 yards last year and 11 touchdowns. So that's always going to help this offense. Like he's so good. Yeah.
That's how he
800.
Essentially. Yeah. Like everyone points out Jimmy Garoppolo's performance week 1, but how Arizona truly won the game is Murray just scrambling around. You were out there. You were at the field.
Didn't he convert a 3rd and 17 with his legs? Just scrambling.
I
think he didn't like that.
Yeah. And then he also had the long touchdown run where I think Jimmy Ward missed a tackle, and Jimmy Ward's held safety. So when you get that guy missing a tackle, like you're doing something with your legs. But I just have him for the Cliff Kingsbury. I think if they get a true, say, like a Kyle Shanahan, a Sean McVay, even the guy from Buffalo, getting what's his name from Buffalo,
Ryan Dabble,
bring him in as a head coach, and I think that Kyler Murray in that offense could really, really take off.
And you know who the offense of the Cardinals reminds me of? It reminds me of how the Browns was Freddie Kitchens, how they had all that talent and they weren't doing anything. All of a sudden, you get a nice offensive mind to Kevin Stefanski, and then all of a sudden they're popping the lid off that offense. That's the reason why I'm so down. And I still think it'd be sweet because that's eventually, talent does arise and can make those plays. And you can only be so inept that you're only bottling your talent. But dude, I think we both seen the same thing, which is Kingsbury. It's just like it's the way he was, especially getting touted the way when he stepped foot in the league.
Still, though, I mean, it was the 6th ranked offense last year, and it got better this offseason. Kyler got better. They brought in AJ Green, Rondale Moore, James Conner. They did lose Kenyon Drake, but I think you would expect Kyler Murray to improve as a passer this year. Don't sleep on Arizona, because any team that has a really good quarterback in year 3, sometimes that's the year. Like this kid could be this. He might be the MVP this year. I mean, look at how good Josh Allen was in year 3 last year. Right. He took a huge leap from 2 to 3. So I don't know. We'll see.
And like I said, I opened this saying biggest threat to the 49ers. One of the huge threats to the 49ers in a long time is playing in Arizona. They won in 2019. Other than that, it's been a long time if you just erase 2019. And like you said, they're just getting better. But I'm just giving Seattle the edge at 3 in my solely because it's Russell Wilson. The offensive line is terrible. They do have DK Metcalf. They do have Tyler Lockett. And then Wilson, who have a new offensive coordinator as well, which Wilson wasn't happy about, that he wasn't in that process. It's just weird situation there. It could literally be like his last season in Seattle just because the situation's so weird. He even said it himself, like, I didn't ask for a trade, but I did say I would go to these teams. He said that like 2 weeks ago. You never want your franchise guy saying that crap. It's just a weird situation. But solely because of Wilson being the denominator, I'm giving the edge at 3. And then 2, I'm going 49ers here. It's Jimmy Garoppolo is going to hold this team back from being the number 1 offense in the division and potentially a top 3 offense in all of the NFL. It seems like he have trouble reading defenses still. Like he will lock onto one guy and stick onto that one guy and does nothing after his first read, rather than Trey Lance. Say if Trey Lance struggles getting off his first read, well, guess what he can do? He could run, he could scramble, he could pick up 3rd and 8 with his legs.
It's like Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson. Yep.
Exactly. That's why they're ahead of the learning curve essentially as being rookie quarterbacks. Is they have that ability to scramble and go pick up a first, even if they're struggling to get to that second progression. So Jimmy Garoppolo is ultimately going to hold them back from being the number one offense in the world, in the NFC and West, and could be number one if they do have Trey Lance in there solely because Kyle Shanahan. We've done with Jimmy Garoppolo. They beat the Rams last season with Nick Mullins. They beat the Cardinals with C.J. Beathard, and then go ahead. I think obviously Rams are next. They're the number one offense in the division for me because Matthew Stafford is going to be able to turn the tide on those games where they're struggling to put up more than single digits. They're not getting stuck at 7. They're not getting stuck at 3. And I think a lot of that came down to Jared Goff and his happy feet within the pocket. And then go ahead.
Oh, real quick, it just occurred to me. If Trey Lance is the starter this year, the Niners aren't going to pass very much. They're going to lead the league and they're going to lead the league in rushing.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Their overall yardage number may be low just because they don't pass that much, but they still could rank high in points. Because I keep envisioning what the Seahawks did 10 years ago with Russell Wilson as a rookie. Like, it worked. They just didn't pass very much. They were 32nd in the league in passing attempts.
Yeah. What I'm always told is yardage is cute, but yardage doesn't put points on the board.
That's true.
So
That's true.
how I personally look at, say, top 3 offenses, top 5 offenses is how many points are you essentially putting on the board? Because that's going to win you the games. You could have a 5,000-yard quarterback. Are they 15th in scoring, 16th in scoring? So, I mean, you're driving down the field, but you're not putting up touchdowns. You're putting up field goals instead, and you're not a top scoring offense. So I guess when I'm saying these top offenses, I'm looking at scoring.
But look at the 2019 Niners. Like, they were 29th in passing attempts with Jimmy Garoppolo, and they were 2nd in points, 4th in yards. So I mean, there's quite a lot of potential with Trey Lance in this offense. Like, they put up big numbers even running the ball as much as they do.
It just means they're going to try to stuff the box like they did against teams.
Yeah, and if you stuff the box against Trey Lance, he's going to make you pay. Straight up.
And it sounds like, Kyle Shanahan, from everything we hear, like third party, because I didn't speak to Kyle Shanahan personally, and he probably won't even say it when you ask him during, media availability. It sounds like Trey Lance, he's okay. Like, he's okay just letting him run more than 5 times a game, or at least having more than 5 quarterback design runs per game.
Yeah, I mean, I'd want him scrambling a few times a game. I mean, I would want him running at least 5 times a game. Depending how he runs. Let's compare him to Russell Wilson. How many times did Russell Wilson run the ball as a rookie?
That's fair.
In 2012. I mean,
because Russell Wilson, he's never really had the Lamar Jackson-esque or Allen-esque of designed runs. It kind of just came natural when plays break down. So that's a fair comparison.
Yeah, so in 2012, Russell Wilson as a rookie, 24-year-old rookie, ran the ball 6 times a game. That sounds fair. 30 yards a game. And I mean, how many first downs did he get? It doesn't say, but I'm sure he had a bunch of first downs running the ball.
Yeah, that's fair. And that's why, like I said, those guys are ahead of the learning curve just because they have that ability. Okay, in 5, crap, kid getting double teamed here on his choice route, and Trey Lance could just pick it up. That, and obviously, when I say you want to study British, who gives a shit, who gives a crap about that? It's Trey Lance is able to keep the drive going, and that's when you can get in the end zone. But with these defenses, I think there's a lot of question marks with each team in this division. Rams, new DC, 49ers, new DC, Cardinals, they get some guys back, but they haven't been, one of the top defenses in the NFL for some time now. And then with the Seahawks, they lost a key corner in Griffin. Obviously, pick up Ahkello Witherspoon and Kerry Hyder on that team. They reached Carlos Dunlap, but they still weren't a very, very, say, top-notch defense in the NFL. They're not the team that you're saying, okay, I need to stop, and I'm going to choose the Seattle Seahawks defense. That's not them. They're not even in that discussion. So I think this is potentially where the division could be won, because a lot of these teams have some offenses that could put up points. It may come down to which defense stops that team. from putting up those points. Grant, like, where are you at with these defenses in the NFC West?
I'm pulling up the stats just to get like a sense of where they were at last year. Niners had the 5th ranked defense with all that crap going wrong. Okay. So yeah, I still think the worst defense in the division is Seattle's. They have so much money tied up into Russell Wilson that they just can't really invest in their defense. They have to invest in offensive line and weapons. So their defense is kind of just a bunch of young guys and Jamal Adams, like bargain guys and Jamal Adams. So yeah, I don't like their defense very much. But after that, like, I guess I'd have to put the Niners number 3 because they lost Robert Saleh, and you don't know what you're going to get from like D Ford, Samson Ebukam. Nick Bosa coming back is cool, but like the Rams still have 2 Hall of Famers on their defense, even though they lost Brandon Staley. I mean, they got Raheem Morris to replace him, and he's really good. That should be a really good defense still. I mean, and Arizona, again, like Arizona was what were they? They were the 13th ranked defense last year without Chandler Jones, and they're getting him back, and they're getting J.J. Watt and Marcus Golden. It seems like they could be really good too. So maybe Arizona 2, Rams 1.
Wow.
But these are all good defenses outside of the Seattle. It seems like there are 3 good defenses.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember, Grant. Hopefully he doesn't say that they just have like 3 players on that side of the ball, and then they're going to come out on Twitter. And
yeah, no, we're saving that. We're saving that for game week. We're saving that for game week when I want to put my
you did that
right?
on
him. Yeah.
Do you remember that? Like
all 26 of their fans
preview.
26 of them. Yeah, that's right. All of them.
This is, damn it. I can't disagree. For once, I can't disagree with what Grant's saying. 4th is definitely the Seattle Seahawks. I feel like that's such a pitiful defense. When your best pass rusher is a safety, I know they got Kerry Hyder, but when your best pass rusher is a safety, we have a little bit of an issue here, don't we? I would like to think. Yeah. I mean, they don't have KJ Wright. And why don't they have him? Because, like you said, Russell Wilson's soaking up all that money. They don't even have enough money to pay Jamal Adams. That's why he's not there right now. So that defense is that defense is nuts. I mean, I know I like Akila Witherspoon, but I mean, you're not saying you're not getting much there. And DJ Reed is sweet, but come on, dude, that's like 3-4 players that we're talking about. And the overall gist of it, we just saw them get taken out completely by a broken hand Jared Goff and a backup when in the playoff game. So I have zero faith in them. They're probably going to be a bottom 5 defense. And then number 3, I think it's going to be the 49ers as well, because Robert Saleh was always a mad genius to me in the way that they maintained a top 5 ranking with almost all their starters at one point being gone. That's absurd. That should never happen. I mean, that's wild to me.
With an offense that was terrible. With like
exactly. So you were getting stretched out with a bunch of extra possessions that you had to face. He had to step out of his comfort zone. And as much as you think it's a boost to have Nick Bosa back, Nick Bosa back, and you would think D Ford, but all these players are variables. You don't know how they're going to respond. You know how many games you're going to get them active for. And that secondary is still kind of question mark after Jason Verrett. So even Demeco Ryans, as much as I see him as a very positive influence right now, the way he could probably still keep that defense clean to a certain degree, it's still going to be a very good defense. I just can't. I feel like if you're going to say it's going to be replicated, it's disrespect to Robert Saleh. Yeah. Number 2, same thing, Arizona Cardinals, and that kind of puts me. If it wasn't for Saleh leaving or any of those question marks, the 49ers, Cardinals would be 3. But it's just because same thing, coaching. I hate Vance McJoseph. I feel like the way they handled Isaiah Simmons is just like so absurd. Just the way, I mean, maybe he's just not that great of a player. The way they just try to use him and stuff like that. But I feel like that's kind of a coaching standpoint. You just have to figure out. But then again, there's still talent there. Eventually at some point it'll emerge. It still look good. Chandler Jones was not even there because of injury. So you can bring him back, who's probably one of the best pass rushers if he can get there, considering those question marks from injury. And number 1, the Rams. It kind of seems that's just the way Leo expect me to probably roast them. But I am saving that for game week. It's just, Raheem Morris, he's a solid defensive coordinator. And that defense last year, as much as I love to make fun of them, they still had some nice young talent. And then they have 2 studs in Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. So it's kind of it's not like it's like Grant said, it's not like each of them is like dramatically ahead. It's not like they're like 20 yards away. They're all like probably within like 5 yards of each other in terms of a difference of how they dominate, of how they play. So that's how I would go right there with the Rams, Cardinals, 49ers, and the Hawks.
The thing about the Rams, though, is they did lose John Johnson, their free safety, and they lost Samson Ebukam because they can't afford him. They honestly can't pay these guys. I'm sure they would love to have them. So maybe and they lost Staley. So I don't think they're gonna have the number one defense in the league anymore. It's still gonna be damn good.
Yeah.
Okay. So real quick, actually, Grant, I want to propose this question to you.
Yeah.
Do you think that last year you were really like saying, oh, the 49ers lost DJ Reed. This could be a huge deal. Myself included, as well as a lot of people were just like, DJ Reed, like, who cared? Like, he wasn't even on deep. It was just a special teamer.
Yeah. And
he played a pivotal piece for the Seattle Seahawks. Could Ahkello Witherspoon play that same role for the Seattle Seahawks? Because, he was until the last 4 games, he was the odd man out. No one really cared or preached to bring Ahkello back after his contract. Is that going to be the same situation where these guys are just balling out in a different setting?
It's possible, right? I mean, I never saw much from DJ Reed when he was on the Niners that made me think he was going to turn into what he turned into. I mean, they were kind of grooming him as like the long-term backup replacement for K'Wan in the slot. Now he's a starting outside corner for the Seahawks, and you could argue that he's better than Emmanuel Mosley. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, the Niners had him and didn't really get it. And the difference is, as great as Robert Saleh is, his background is linebackers. Pete Carroll's background is defensive backs. And you could argue that he's the best DB coach in the league. He's really good at it. So it's, to your point, it's certainly possible that Ahkello Witherspoon will make a jump the way that DJ Reed did.
It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me, because like you said, Pete Carroll, it seems like he's the common denominator. Like, what the hell? They had Byron Maxwell playing at a high level. They had Browner playing at a high level. Sherman playing at a high level. Walter Thurman. Oh my God, there's a name.
That's true.
As well as what's his name that just signed with the Jaguars, one of the twin brothers. He was playing Griffin. At a high level. Yeah. Griffins. None of these guys were first round picks, and he's getting them at a high level rather than say Saleh and Demeco Ryans. They're going to be more so linebacker guys and get quality play out of them.
Yes.
We have a question right here. So thank you for the contribution, John. Should we as 49 fans feel skeptical of Demeco Ryans' abilities as a rookie defensive coordinator? I think they was kind of touching on this a bit already.
Yeah, skeptical. I would say skeptical, but I'd say you definitely should be. We shouldn't pencil him in, and he thinks he's going to slide right into Robert Saleh's spot, and everything's going to be all gravy. And no, this guy is still a new coach. He's barely been a coach for last 4 or 5 years. People forget he was just playing the league in 2015, 2016 range. But then again, that's a credit to him that he's rose the rank this fast. It's not to say that, hey, maybe he can't be somewhat good. It's just you can't expect the defense to be still a top 5. I think you can get him teetering top 10, which if you can, great. That's perfect. You couldn't ask for a better replacement. But, I mean, it's not really about replacing Saleh. It's about maybe somewhat getting close to what he was, because I still feel Saleh never got enough credit, even from like the own fan base, even from I feel like we cannot give him enough credit with just what he's done. So with Demeco Ryans, just question, maybe not concerned, maybe not skeptical, but it's just like, hey, let's just see how it pans out, because he does have some players who can come into place and help his job. And for all we know, maybe Bosa and Ford do come back and they play at a high level. So I would just say, let's just pump the brakes on the defense, thinking that it's going to be back to that standard, and just think like, hey, all right, let's be a little wary, maybe a little wary, not so much as skeptical.
I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being really good, and he ends up being like a head coach one day, like Saleh or Mike Vrabel. But I think the issue with him is just that he doesn't have experience. And we saw what Robert Saleh was like without experience. His game plans weren't that great. His adjustments weren't that great. And the only way you improve at those things is with reps. So I think Demeco the fact that he got the seal of approval from Saleh, from Shanahan, that he was developed by Saleh, that the person who identified Saleh as a talent and hired him, and Kyle, has done the same thing with Demeco. It all speaks very highly of him. I mean, he was a rookie of the year. He's been called a coach on the field since I was in high school. He's very highly regarded by everyone that comes across him. I just think year one, I'm curious to see what those game plans are like. I'm curious to see what those adjustments are like. And not just the halftime adjustments, but the ones on the sideline in the first quarter, the second quarter, all that stuff. That's going to be tough.
Yeah. From the people I spoke to that within that locker room they're really high on Demeco Ryans. And it's just like what you said. They say what he achieved in the NFL and what they hear from him today. I think the biggest thing to where he could see himself get burnt is maybe blitzing a little too much. A new defensive coordinator on a team that didn't blitz that much under Saleh. I think he may try it early on, and I think that's where he would get burned is maybe what their blitz package is, and then he'll and adjust from that. I think he's going to be a top 5 DC from week 1, maybe not even week 2, 3, or 4, but I think he'll have success. And I just see the only way he gets burnt early is by just trying to show a little more exotic looks. Because I think Fred Warner hinted it as well about blitzing. So they may get to a little blitz happy. And when you get a little blitz happy, especially when it has success, you want to do it over and over and over again. And eventually, if you're facing a guy like Sean McVay, he's going to adjust to a blitz. He had adjusted to the 49ers and Rob Saleh, but that wasn't essentially the blitz. That was just terrible quarterback play from Jared Goff. So I think he has room to be, or potential to be, a top 5 DC. It's not going to be at least early on within year 1. But I do have the 40. I'm a little more say just biased, I guess, than the both of you when it comes to the rankings of defense. I have them probably 1A or 1B with Rams. I think both of them have hell of a talent. Like, look what the Rams have. I may even have the Rams 1A just because they have Jalen Ramsey in the secondary. They have Fuller in the secondary. They have Aaron Donald on the defensive line. I think they could have some work at the middle line, in their inside linebackers. That's why I don't essentially throw them out as the number 1 team or defense in the NFC West. Niners 1B. Look what they did last year with guys that weren't even supposed to be starters, and now they're allegedly, because you know what's going to happen over there between soft tissue injuries. So they're allegedly to get Nick Bosa back and maybe D Ford. We'll see. Ebukam, I think, be a bigger signing than most of us initially when that news broke. He can replay the D Ford like role even if D Ford doesn't come back. And you get another year under Dre Greenlaw, so I think that's always better. Fred Warner's obviously all pro, and you just want to keep Hart healthy, Ward healthy. But if one of them does have to miss a game, the hell backup safety, and I think he's better than Tarvarius Moore. So I do think they didn't get any of the sexy signings. Like, they didn't go out and get, say, who was the sexy defense signing this offseason? Sexy defensive, no one?
That they needed? Like
just anyone.
Around the league.
Anyone. Yeah, around the league.
Akello Witherspoon.
There you go. JJ Watt. There you go. JJ Watt.
There you go.
Like, they didn't go and get like that high profile name, but I think
Patrick Peterson. I don't know.
Yeah, high profile, sure. But it's just, I think they have the pieces. I do like what I hear from Demeco Ryans. Obviously, I'm in that building, but that piece is that's having 1B. I have the Cardinals 3rd, just because I think they're a whole lot better than people say they are. They added JJ Watt. JJ Watt may not have been the pass rusher he once was, but he knows how to stop the running game pretty well. He knows how to fill those gaps, fill those holes. And what do the 49ers do pretty well? They like to establish the running game. What do the Seahawks like to do well? They like to establish the running game. Same thing with the Rams as well. So 4th is just Seattle Seahawks. I think they're a little gas, and that's why they're trying to hold off on paying Jamal Adams a bunch of money because they know they have holes they need to fill, especially on the defensive line. They had like one quality player last season, and that was mid-season on that defensive line. So we'll see what happens there. But that's what I think in that defensive line. Grant, where do you have these overall? Or if you wanted to touch on something.
Well, I want to say one more thing before we move on the defenses. I feel like the issue with the Niners defense, the biggest question mark other than Ryans is Bosa. What is he going to be like, right? Coming off a torn ACL. And like, that's a tough question. I think he should play as much as he played as a rookie. I mean, just because he's coming off a torn ACL doesn't mean he shouldn't play. So I'm thinking 75% of the snaps, but roll with me on this one. He tore his ACL in high school. Senior year, he came to Ohio State off that injury, and I'm looking here. His freshman year at Ohio State, he had 5 sacks in 12 games. So maybe he won't be quite as good as he was his rookie year. He should play as much, but maybe he'll be back like his second year removed from the injury. It's possible that he'll play, but he won't be quite as dominant as he was. Instead of giving you 9 sacks, it's 6. This year, and maybe next year it's 11. But I think it's a question: how dominant is he going to be less than a year or a year removed from an ACL injury?
Yeah, he didn't have any preseason his rookie year, as well as I think they started it off pretty slow his rookie year. He wasn't getting plenty of snaps versus Tampa. He wasn't getting a bunch of snaps versus Cincinnati. So I think it's going to be a similar like situation to where he probably sees 30 snaps week 1 and then maybe bumps it up to 35 week 2. I don't
first day of OTAs, then first it was his quad and then literally training camp. Oh, here comes his ankle.
Feel like this defense is built for him to take over because once they lost Buckner, I mean, they need him to be like to be Aaron Donald.
Yeah, like dominant. Last year they lost Buckner, but then they also lost D Ford essentially and lost Nick Bosa essentially. Right. So it's tough. I think a lot of his production as well is going to come down to what to do on the other side. Is Kinlaw able to win one-on-one matchups? Because if he's able to win one-on-one matchups, he's more than likely going to get double teamed on the inside. Same thing with Eric Arnett. If you don't have any one of them winning one-on-one matchups, who's going to be the guy you slide your production to double team? It's going to be Nick Bosa. And if Nick Bosa is getting forced to be double teamed, these other guys aren't winning one-on-one matchups, it's going to make it very difficult for this defensive line in a whole. So yeah, saying Nick Bosa being back to his 2019 self is just as important, if not even more than important on Demeco Ryans is a very, very fair question.
One thing that's going to help this defense, though, is the Niners are going to run the ball more than any team in the NFC. Watch. They're going to run the ball more than you've ever seen. I believe that. I mean, I think their draft indicated that.
Well, they did. Yeah, and I think they got insurance on it if someone goes down by getting Elijah Mitchell as well. A lot of people say, the 49ers don't need to draft no running back. I was calling it like, you're crazy. Shanahan's going to pick a guy off the street, make a 1,000-yard rusher. I'm like, why look at it like that? When Shanahan is supposedly this running back guru, so was his father. Wouldn't it make more sense to have better talent, better than average talent at that running back position than just have average talent? Because now you're making Shanahan work a whole lot harder. You're making these offensive line work a whole lot harder. If you just get above average talent, then boom, like your running offense is able to take a lot more than what we could have expected. So we'll see.
Nice shirt, Jose.
Thanks. It's the second edition compared to yours.
Oh, okay.
I want the white one.
I got the white one too. You don't got the white one?
I want the white. No, I want the white one. That looks cool.
Sorry.
It's too hot, man. It's been hot in the Bay Area, bro.
It's been so hot.
Wear that outside though.
I'm about to go do a training camp. My God, I'm gonna burn up.
Then what does wearing a black shirt have to do with being hot? If you're inside.
What do you mean?
If you're inside.
Because all my doors and windows are closed versus it being open and my window's right there where the sun hits me.
Okay, I think it's an excuse, but hey. So instead of saying like rank the teams in the division, go with who do you think wins it? And and I think the second place team gets a wild card spot. So do you have a team win this division early? Like, it's way too early, way too early to kind of predict. But as of now, as we're closing in on June, who are your favorites? How about we'll say that? Who are your favorites? Top 2 favorites. I'll let you go, Grant.
I actually think that the Cardinals are the favorites to win this division. I think their roster is stacked, and if they had another coach, everyone would agree. I'm trying to say that Cliff Kingsbury is not going to mess it up, but I think the Niners are right there too. The only thing that separates the Niners and the Cardinals to me is Jimmy Garoppolo's contract. The Cardinals don't have that. They don't have that problem. The Niners have that problem. And if they could get rid of it and spend some of that money on other players who contribute, then I think the Niners could take them. I just feel like the Rams, while they have like 3 really major players in Donald, Ramsey, and Stafford, their highest paid player this year is Goff. They have problems in their payroll. Like, they have $40 million in dead money. I don't think that roster is that good. I mean, you don't really think about it because you're focused on the names, but like they have a bunch of holes in that team. And then the Seahawks, like the quarterback's mad. The offensive line stinks. He's making too much money. They have a new offensive coordinator. I could see that kind of falling apart for the first time this year. I don't really know about that team. So I actually like the 2 teams with the young quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think my favorites are going to be, number 1, it's going to be the Rams. And then I think the same thing too. It's going to be, I can definitely see the Seattle Seahawks teetering off this year, because it kind of seems like it's more of a semi Aaron Rodgers Packers feel, where it's like internal strife and it's all this like pointing the fingers or whatever else they're masking in there. But I think I'm still going to try to say it's the Seahawks at 2. Only once again, it's a cop out with saying it's Kingsbury, man, because they feel like they massively underachieved last season. It felt like it was right there in the pickings, but I could definitely can see number 2 will be up for grabs for anyone. I just think number 1 is going to be the Rams, because even in 2019, when they were not there, they were still a damn good football team. You know, they were up there until the second to last week of the season. Even last year, with considering their quarterback problems with Goff, just such a roller coaster ride with him, and they still were able to get to the divisional round. I just think once again, you get a quarterback and you get a sweet offense, you get a sweet head coach who just knows how to, like, they can hopefully coincide with each other. Then it's going to work out. The only issues with them, I feel like the most issue with them on the Rams is the offensive line, which, you know, as much as Goff was getting slandered last year, the offensive line wasn't really doing much protection with him, which I guess you think would hope with Stafford, who releases the ball faster and processes quicker, will help deflate that to a certain degree. But I'd say those are my top 2 favorites, just because like Seattle I could just see them still doing the same thing, not going far, but they're still in the mix of things and they go to the playoffs. But I'd say it's the Rams and the Seahawks. Man, hearing Grant say the Cardinals makes it tough on me now, because, you know, seeing how he was out early on a limb to name these teams or, you know, make his predictions last season, and they seemed more than likely pretty spot on. So now I'm just sitting here thinking, like, is it going to be the Cardinals? Are the Cardinals going to win this division?
I don't know. It's fair to say that Cliff Kingsbury sucks and that he'll blow it. That's fair to say. I'm not saying he doesn't suck. He might. He just might.
Yeah, it's like that's just where I go back to. It's Cliff Kingsbury couldn't even, you know, get Patrick Mahomes ranked in college.
That's so true.
So
he couldn't win with Mahomes. He couldn't win with Mahomes in college. It's true, man.
Yeah,
sure. I just like their roster, really. That's all I'm saying. I like their roster a lot.
Some of the gaffes last year by them too, that was his fault. Like I just remember some mistakes that just shouldn't happen. It reminded me almost like with the Harbaugh offensive years, where they would just get delayed game penalties, and it's like, what are you guys doing? Like, what some of these goofball penalties that should be negated? Not saying, you know, that determined the season, but it's just, you can connect the dots with how he just did things and search situationally, what he called plays or what he wanted to do, or just decision. It was just like, what is this guy doing? And that's how I feel like he's.
Look at their defense, though. Their front seven is nasty, man. It's nasty. Yeah. Chandler Jones, J.J. Watt, Isaiah Simmons.
I'll continue to say Marcus Gold is the best in the NFL.
Thank you.
The guy consistently up there in pressures. Like, he's top 15 in pressures every single season. and he can't make more than $5 million a year. It's the most. That position gets overpaid just as much as quarterbacks do, and then two, this guy's only getting maxed at $5 million per year. He's the best value piece in the NFL.
Yeah.
And then Kingsbury, he's kind of. But then you could also say, does year 3 Kyler Murray kind of propel Kingsbury and make him look better than what he is? And essentially,
I think that's what's going to get done.
Kyler Murray gets Kingsbury's contract extension done because if they make the playoffs,
if they don't fall short, then you got to fire Kingsbury. And what you do is you bring in like Mike McDaniel.
Well, I think it's the last year of his deal, if I'm not mistaken.
They gave him a 3-year deal.
I think so. So it was either a 3-year deal in Arizona with Kyler Murray or OC at USC.
Seriously. He better show results because the team is stacked, and I think if it doesn't work with that rinky-dink air raid offense that he has, you would bring in like a more Shanahan McVay type offense, and then have everyone in the offense running in the division running the same stuff.
Well, it seems like he's pretty buddies with McVay, so maybe McVay will help him out. He helped him out in getting an Instagram model field pass, from what I heard. You didn't hear, but they did a podcast together, and he asked for an Instagram model that was in LA if McVay could get her
not married?
No, I think he just has a girlfriend that apparently Goff thinks is hot. That's why Goff got shipped out of town. That was final straw.
That's the real reason.
That was the final straw. Final straw. He's like, okay, I ain't gonna deal with this guy no more.
How dare you?
Malibu's most wanted taking shots at my girlfriend.
Yeah.
But so my top 2 favorites are gonna be the Rams and the 49ers. I do think there are going to be serious repercussions with that Russell Wilson saga. I know. You're a homer too. You're a Rams fan, so I'm just kidding.
That's true.
So I just think it's serious repercussions with the Seattle Seahawks in locker room and culture. And I think we've all watched sports long enough, myself being a Giant fan, when you have good San Francisco Giants fan, when you have good culture, a team could really go a long way. Obviously, it's a sport, but it does its justice. And I don't the Seahawks are going to have that same type of culture, that same type of we have fun over here mentality that makes them play better than what they are. And then with the Cardinals, I said it's my common denominator is Kingsbury, but I'm not surprised if any of these teams make the playoffs. I'm truly not surprised because I think they're all that good. But when you have, say the Cardinals, for instance, when they have the 49ers, the Rams, and the Seahawks taking up 6 games, 6 out of 11, that's why they're not going to make the playoffs. That's why probably only 2 of these teams make the playoffs opposed to 3, just because of the amount of times they play each other.
I don't think you go wrong with whoever you pick in this division, man. It's just so loaded. It's just so stacked. Just watching them, just from the talent standpoint, coaching standpoint, I mean, like you have Arizona, who I think probably has the best talent, but once again, I feel like I'm always going to favor the coach who's going to be the reason why it balls it up. And then you have 2 brilliant coaches with Shanahan and McVay. Seattle has Russell Wilson and some pieces, but you never know with them. It feels like they're literally on a slippery slope of it feels like they're the most slippery slope. Like, are they going to be like mid? You know, are they going to be on a downfall considering how much drama it seems like it's pent up there, or what's going to happen? I feel like whatever you can't go wrong on either of these teams.
Yeah.
Well, and also ever since the Legion of Boom left, Seahawk fans have been calling for Pete Carroll's job. There's been a situation where he's lost them games as well. For instance, Week 17 in 2019 wanted to have this fairy tale ending with Marshawn Lynch punching in the ticket to win the division, and it caused them to have a delay a game 5 yards, and ultimately, the Drake Greenlaw stop. So, that rubs the Seahawk fans the wrong way, and they've been calling for us too. So I think this may be the year where it's either comes down to they don't make the playoffs and Seahawks have to make a decision. Do we keep Russell Wilson and get him a head coach that he wants, a guy that he wants, or do we move on from Pete Carroll? And I think it's an obvious decision based on Pete Carroll's age. Go ahead and move off from him. And I just think it's going to be a bigger storyline than what it is with Russell Wilson inside that locker room.
I think it's funny that they're never going to figure out what the problem is in Seattle. It's the same problem that Green Bay has. They pay their quarterback too much money. They pay, and it's like it's great to have Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. It gives you credibility. It gives you a playoff appearance. You're probably going to go to the NFC Championship, but you're not going to win the Super Bowl spending that much money on one player. I think it's been proven over and over and over again. And what they do in Seattle is scapegoat the offensive coordinator. They just keep moving and firing people, but it's like none of those things. They could fire Pete Carroll and bring in someone else, but they're still spending too much money on one player. They're still doing it. And like, why is Tom Brady special? Because he gets it. He gets that you can't be making that much money.
And a lot of their contracts as well. It's like, Tom Brady made good money last year, but those contracts weren't due until this offseason. And what's the first thing he did? Take a cheap deal to help out the team to re-sign those guys.
Yep. He gets it.
Do we need to talk about Aaron Rodgers and because they keep him to the 49ers, or do we flips and slides? Excuse me.
Slips and slides? I can go for a slip and slide right now. It's that hot.
I mean, I guess it's fair to talk about, right? Like it's tempting because Vish laid it out on Twitter today. Like if you feel that Aaron Rodgers on this team this year wins the Super Bowl, forget your plan. Forget the future. Get the ring. I feel like people are always focused on the 5-year plan when it should just be about get the ring, get one ring, because the Niners haven't gotten a ring in a long time and they've failed twice. So it's something you got to think about, honestly. But because you don't know if Trey Lance is going to be special.
Yeah, let me because I think it was Bleacher Report, Gridiron, like a separate, they're linked or did a mock trade. They had Aaron Rodgers going to the 49ers for Trey Lance and 2 additional 2s.
That would never happen. That's
yeah. Wouldn't the Packers want more?
Yes,
they have Jordan Love.
Trey Lance.
Would they just send him to an NFC rival because Rodgers wants out? Wouldn't they rather him just retire?
Go to the AFC or retire.
Retire. I don't know.
I
can see the Niners being interested. I can't see the Packers being interested in sending him here. Also, they have Jordan Love. Do they already not like Jordan Love? He's played 0 games. They're already done with him. Why did they draft him? What the hell?
Yeah,
they like something and it's over. I don't get it. So
I found that strange. It's like they have Jordan Love. Why would Trey Lance be involved in this deal? If it's a player you're involving to try to get compensation back, if you're the Packers, but not get a first round pick back, I just think that would come down to Nick Bosa. And do you think the 49ers give up Bosa for Aaron Rodgers?
They should. I would do that.
Yeah, of course.
Why would you not?
I think the Packers would want like 8 first round picks for Aaron Rodgers. 8. Or
they won't get it because of the situation. They won't.
But they'll get some.
They'll get 1 probably because of the situation.
Okay.
I think Aaron.
Can you seems like what Aaron's even mad at?
Aaron.
Yeah. He should be mad at himself.
Aaron hasn't talked to his family in like 5 years. The guy holds.
This is Aaron's problem. I'll break it down for you right now. Tom Brady just won his 7th ring. Aaron Rodgers is jealous as hell, and he knows he thinks of himself as better than Brady because he can do more. He's more mobile. But that won't be the legacy. The legacy will be that Brady won 7 and you won 1. And why did you only win 1? And what he's doing is pointing the finger at the Packers organization. You guys didn't put a good enough team around me. When the fact of the matter is, Brady understood to take less money, and Rodgers never, ever did that. He always took the most he could. So it's on him. I'm not sympathetic to his plight. Stop.
Yeah, because you can't say it's because it was that Jordan Love, which you thought it was at first, and I guess he even cleared the air saying like it's not necessarily that, or maybe it's something with the general manager and Gutekunst, just the way that it just
Brett
seems
Favre
like
didn't whine when the Packers drafted Aaron Rodgers. Like, suck it up.
And that offense is at least the offense standpoint. They have a good team. Devontae Adams, arguably best wide receiver. Offensive line is sweet. You got Aaron Jones, a nice stable of backs, a good offensive play caller. What more can you want? The defense is not as terrible as everyone thinks either.
I think Allen Lazard is better than what the media posts him out to be. Because they basically say, he's got Devontae Adams and that's it. I think Allen Lazard's an okay player. I don't think he's trash.
But again, like the Packers and the Seahawks are the same. When you spend like $37 million on your quarterback, the rest of your roster are like draft picks and guys making $2-3 million. It's like there's no middle class in your payroll. It's just this guy who lives in a super huge mansion and a bunch of people who live in like 1-bedroom apartments. That's the team. And like the best teams to me are like have a bunch of mid-level role players, guys who make $5 million, $6 million, $7 million, look at Cleveland right now. If you check out their payroll, Cleveland to me is one of the best teams in the league. And they don't have anyone super expensive on their team, but they have a bunch of guys who are vets, who are good. They have Clowney making $3 million. I mean, yeah. I just don't take – I don't like Aaron Rodgers. It's his fault. Russell Wilson too. These guys need to get over themselves and look at the big picture. How do you not see it? You're supposed to be smart. Steve Young talked about it today. He even said it's really going to be tough for the Niners to go where they want to go with Jimmy Garoppolo making all that money. It really stops the momentum. Yeah, he gets it. Come on.
Grant, and that's why ever since forever be my favorite point you've ever said when you mentioned, like, it's almost a year ago now, about quarterbacks, the percentage of salary cap they're taking.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, that pretty much like eloquates it perfectly, paints a picture perfectly. And it's why when they finally got Trey Lance, you have to start in week 1 because they know if he is good, they're not going to be the one bowl team that says, nah, we're not either going to take this some amount of money that keeps us competitive, or you got to ship out. And that's not going to happen. We know they're going to give him the extension. So That's why start him week 1. Even if you don't think he's fully ready, first of all, if he's not even somewhat ready, we have an issue. Maybe he wasn't the guy, but I think he can be somewhat ready.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want to kickstart that cost-effective rookie deal now than having him be on the sideline and watching Garoppolo make questionable throws and where he thinks, wait, I could probably do that. And all of a sudden, quarterback controversy, and you created your own internal drama. That's why it's like start him week 1. Even if he fails, who cares? Let him work through the growing pains. This is why this is why these coaches get paid the big bucks. Coach him up.
Let him really figure it out. Fail though.
Get him there.
Really
he shouldn't.
Fail,
no, he
he's
shouldn't.
Way too talented. The surroundings are too good. He should be fine. He really should. I mean, if Jalen Hurts can hold his own, this guy should be fine.
Better. Getting back
about it. My bad.
To your point,
it's year 2. Go ahead, Leo. Go ahead,
Leo. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, with the quarterbacks making all the money, and especially Garoppolo, since he is the team and not Aaron Rodgers, wouldn't it have been interesting if they just let him, if they couldn't get anything in draft capital, nobody was willing to give up a 7th or even a 6th round pick. They just let him go, went out and traded for Julio Jones, and then signed Melvin Ingram. They do that with money. What decision would you have made? Would you have said, let's keep Jimmy Garoppolo and keep, a 1-2 quarterback room, or go get Julio Jones, essentially mortgaging the future because you'd be stuck with just a 3 in next year's draft? Go get Julio Jones and go sign Melvin Ingram. What would be your preference?
I think the Niners are doing it right. I don't think you want to just assume that Trey Lance is going to be ready. Let him prove it. I think it sounds like he did great in OTAs, but let him do great in training camp. Let him win let him have a competition. Let him win it, and then get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that's fair. I think you could argue the Niners are doing the right thing. When Trey wins it, get rid of Jimmy and spend the money. Don't keep Jimmy. Don't get rid of Jimmy and not spend the money, because I feel like this is a team that can win a Super Bowl, and the Niners need to make that last little push to go all in. You don't want to be like the Warriors who's like the front office kind of looks at the team and they're like, nah, not this year. And all of a sudden it's like, well, maybe it could have been. Look at what Steph Curry did. Look who got hurt. You never know. It seems to me the NFC is wide freaking open. The Niners should definitely put their best foot forward this year, even though their starting quarterback's 21.
And everybody talks about, like, say, rookie quarterbacks don't win things. Like, hell,
yeah,
the team hasn't won a Super Bowl in so long anyways.
Right.
And then 2, if you take off Jimmy Garoppolo from 2019 and insert rookie Justin Herbert, does rookie Herbert win the Super Bowl that year for the 49ers?
I think he does. I think that's a great point. Like, first of all, most rookies don't start. The rookies that do start mostly play for bad teams. Like, imagine if Justin Herbert were on the Dolphins last year, or this team. He went to the Chargers. That team's going to be good in a couple of years. But yeah, the Niners could have won with him. I mean, the Niners could have won with like 17-year-old Trey Lance that year, probably.
Oh, wow. The disrespect.
But yeah, absolutely. I mean, I do think so. So,
But
the idea,
it's just
think about how good this roster can be next year when Jimmy's not on it. Think about it.
Yeah, I think it's undebatable top 10 roster in the NFL. And if you have one of those top 10 rosters in the NFL, either one of them can win the Super Bowl. Either
Look at
one
it this
of them.
way. Look at it this way. The Niners have 2 years with Trey Lance and Nick Bosa both on their rookie deals. I wouldn't waste a week of that. I wouldn't waste a week of that.
That's fair. That's real fair because those guys are going to get paid fast.
Super expensive, and then your team's going to change. I don't even know if I want to pay Nick Bosa, but I do want him on the team for the next 2 years. I mean, God. My God.
He's healthy for the next 2 years. You kind of do have to pay him at that point.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I agree. Still, though, I mean, I feel like the next injury is if it's a serious one, but I don't want to talk about that. Anyway, yeah. The next 2 years, I look at it as a 2-year window. It's with Bosa and Lance as cheap players. Do it now. Don't waste it.
I agree. Because you also open up that capital. So, Grant, if your wife tells you throw out the trash, you want to throw out something quick, or whether you're just
I got my Adidas slips right there. I could get them, but they're like out of reach. But yeah, I don't even own flip flops. You kidding? What the hell is a flip flop?
Yeah, I don't own flip flops. Yeah, it's a thong for your toes.
What's up with the lip emphasis, bro?
I think it's funny how like guys are like so like, man, those are so uncomfortable. But you expect women to wear thongs. He's like, what's wrong with that? It's like I would never put that on my foot, but yeah, you should wear that all day, yo. What's wrong? What's the problem?
I don't know. Yeah. It's because they're a woman. That's why they're a woman. I can't
respect because I wouldn't need. I can't. That's the idea.
They have more power than us.
For more than respect. Yeah.
Yeah, they wear those high heels, which I probably, well, not just me, just men in general, probably couldn't be able to last in those because we whine too much.
Yeah, that's tough. But no, I'm a big flip flops and socks guy. I like that. It's a real classy look. I like it. Nothing says.
I put socks. I put
flip
socks
or socks.
Slide.
Both.
Yeah, I wear them both.
Both.
I'm not trying to be naked.
Nothing says sophistication more than flip flops and socks at the same time. At the same damn time.
That Kirk Cousins energy right there.
Well, you know what are nice too? House slippers.
Ooh,
house slippers. I like those.
Yeah, especially when it's like cold inside and your feet get a little cold and
the little fuzzies interior, just like you slide right in and
those are nice.
Like, it's nice and cozy.
Yes. Those make me feel like I'm a millionaire. Get out of bed, put on some slippers, like
just to straight kick them up and just look at them and be like, yeah.
Slippers are a baller move. I'm saying you got to add slippers to your. Get some Ugg slippers for Christmas every other year. Yeah, whatever. I mean, anyone that look kind of baller, get some Versace slippers. I don't got none of those though.
Yeah, slides are nothing. The reason why I brought this up because I went to not Soak City down in Orange County, and I forgot to bring my slides, and obviously I'm not gonna walk around with freaking shoes and socks at the water park, so stopped at the Walmart right there, and got the 98-cent flip flops. And I was just so uncomfortable, like the whole, like my toes felt violated. I had to file a report for them. It was terrible.
I feel like this is such a San Diego conversation, man. Like the Bay isn't really very much of a flip flop culture. It's just not warm enough. But down in San Diego, you gotta have good shades and good flip flops. You got to.
Yeah, so it's like I think I posted that on Twitter, and some like Javi Vega. Apparently, he is a flip flop person in Texas, and I'm just like, dog, like I come on, like you need to put on the slides with socks. I can't wear slides without socks because my toes be busted, and I ain't get judged on. I ain't trying to judge on my toes.
That's hella funny.
Well, now one of my friends was wearing those little thong sandals the other week in LA, and I just looked at him and I was like, I asked him, "What are you doing?" He was so confused. I said, "What are you doing, man?" And I'm like, dude, don't you know it's flip flop gang out here? We don't wear no sandals like that. What are you doing? We're not putting our feet in the little sand to feel all free and stuff like that. Like, come on, what are we really doing here? Honestly, like, come on, I can't be seen with you now. So I had to walk like 10 steps ahead just so I wouldn't be seen with him.
Oh, jeez. Hey, you're gonna do that to me, huh? Just because I post something about baseball and Mike Yastrzemski and
would you have rather
stuff.
been barefoot at that amusement park, or would you rather rock those sandals?
Probably the sandals.
Sorry. Well,
the reason why is because the ground gets super hot from the sun, and then I'm gonna have to be like tiptoeing because it's so like I'm stepping on charcoal. So
you know what that is a SoCal problem because there's no such thing as hot ground over here.
No, not at all. No,
it's like what are you talking about?
The Bay Area is the kind of place where no matter what is going on, you will always see someone wearing a sweatshirt within 20 yards of you at all times. You want to dress up, someone wearing a sweatshirt. You think it's warm out, someone's wearing a sweatshirt. It is sweatshirt central.
I got 10 hoodies in my closet. That's all. You got to keep the variety going when it's always like foggy like half the time.
My cousin's from the city, and when he comes down to visit me, it's like 85 degrees on. He throws on his sweater. I'm like, dog, like
it's a bad habit. I do the same thing. My wife is from the desert down by Riverside, and whenever we go down there, I always bring like jeans, socks, shoes. She's like, "What are you doing?" She, they all wear like 2 pieces of clothes. While I'm over there like bundled up like this sucks. What was I thinking? But I don't have clothes like that. I don't have like tank tops and who has stuff like I guess people down there. You do. I would if I lived down there.
I do have a tank top. You're right.
Yeah, you got to down in San Diego, man. You got to.
You're right. But yeah,
there's no reason to wear a set tank top. You get a cold. You would catch a cold.
See, I like the Bay Area weather so like I prefer that. That my sister just moved to Arizona. I'm like, hell no. I can never move out there. Screw that. I like hoodie season. That's what I'm all about right now. It's getting a little too hot down here, so I'm gonna have to retire the hood for a little bit. But I appreciate you guys both hopping on with me today.
Thanks for having me, man. This was fun. Good to see you, Jose.
Yeah. Is it just me, or has Jose been like frozen a bunch of times today?
No, it's definitely just you.
It's definitely just you. You've been frozen.
You've been frozen a bunch of times.
You've been frozen.
I've been the one frozen.
You gotta upgrade that.
Hey, that's gonna be next week's topic. Why does Leo Luna keep using Cricket wireless?
Leo needs to get that upload speed. He's got to call up AT&T and tell him like
this fool's got that sandglass upload speed.
What do I got to do to get 9 megabytes per second?
I'm gonna have to get the better internet from the prepaid at 7-Eleven. I'm just gonna have to I guess like the 10 instead of the 3.
Yeah.
This guy got that penny slot Wi-Fi. What's
Bay Area baller over here making fun of my hair. Yeah, I missed the appointment. I thought it was at 3, but it was at 1:30 when I was on Twitch. So I was talking to you guys, missing the appointment. And don't worry, they charged me anyway.
You deserve to get roasted for that. You gotta come on, haircuts. That's the one thing only guys get ready for the most.
That's true. I was really looking forward to it. Also,
real quick, if you're playing a game 7, are you getting a haircut before you play a game 7? Because I watched the Nets and Bucks and it's like nobody had a fresh cut. That's Kevin Durant never does.
I played baseball growing up, and that's a very superstitious sport. So maybe not. That's the kind of sport where like you don't cut your hair the entire season, kind of thing. So I don't know.
Okay, what about basketball?
Yeah, basketball is like a whole nightclubby thing. Everyone looks great. Everyone. So I would probably get my hair cut. You know what I mean? Everyone looks really put together at basketball games. They're not like baseball players, like spitting and stuff.
Yeah. I think if you're asking me now if I was just playing a league, hell yeah, I would. But if I was actually a top player, I think I'd probably maybe focus more on my game, stuff like that. Like I'd be too locked in.
You want to get the house call though? You want to get the house call? Like, hey, yo, come over here. You're gonna watch film for an hour and you're getting your haircut.
Oh, I think so. Because one of the things that annoyed me the most this year was Steph Curry's hair. Like I felt like he was having a great season, but he couldn't get the hair right. He
couldn't decide what he wanted. He had the braids.
Like, yeah, man. He was kind of in between. I was like,
then he just needs to go back to the taper gang.
Yeah, like find something that matches your level of play right now. It's like it's hurting my eyes to watch you like struggle through these phases, man. I bothered.
It was like
that was the only person I noticed
Clay. When Clay couldn't figure out what type of facial hair he wanted. Yeah. Sometimes he went the beard, sometimes he went shave, and then he would go goatee. He was always changing that up.
The Steph though with like the minis cornrows that stopped that was no good. It didn't work. I didn't like
That was
that.
not the look.
That was
not crisp.
Nah, it wasn't crisp. It wasn't.
Just reminds me of opening night when he had the face, his forehead looked big.
Yeah, man.
And it went viral.
Come on, Steph. Come on.
But,
anyway.
Anyways, I'll let you guys go. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you.